Hey guys, it's Elizabeth with the Four Walls Podcast, and today I have Anna. Thank you so much for taking the time to come and sit and join.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so my family and I have two young girls, a 6-year-old and a 3-year-old now. And we started traveling, gosh, back in 2021, like around COVID time happened. So before that, my husband and I traveled a lot when we were in grad school. We went over to Africa for 2 months towards the end of school, and then we did like a 6-week road trip around the US back in 2014. I think before everybody else had really gone out and done all that, right? We really enjoyed it. We really got into it. And then after having kids, we just thought we didn't want to stop or slow down because I feel like that's really the narrative for a lot of families is you have to slow down, you have to stay home, kids have to go to school and follow this routine. And we really want to try something different that kind of fit what we felt made us happy and was also good for the kids too, right? So we traveled with the kids for a while and then we thought, okay, we are ready to just like go all in. So starting like the end of 2024, we took a full family gap year and just traveled for an entire year with the kids, like in Central America and then over to Asia and Southeast Asia.
Wow, that is so amazing. What are some of the steps that you took to feel prepared to take that gap year with kids?
For us, I mean, the biggest thing my husband got us financially ready because we were not working while we were gone. We had both been physician assistants for 10 years. So he really set up our finances so that way we could just pull from that while we were gone. Didn't have to worry about getting like a remote job or anything. And then with the kids, neither one is in school. So we kind of focused on like world schooling for them, which meant just like workbooks or just seeing the world for what it is, different cultures, different religions, different people, how they live, and like not judging what that looks like, right? Because it's really hard when you're
Mhm.
just like in one culture for so long to go and see different infrastructures everywhere and just feel like this is so different. So I feel like that was a really great thing for them to see. Just realize like what's in the United States does not mean that's the only way things are in the world.
Wow, that is so amazing. I can only imagine how that helped your kids kind of develop a whole different kind of sense than their peers.
Yeah.
So, are you still traveling full time, or is it more of gaps in between long trips?
So right now it's kind of gaps, right? So we came back at, what was it? The end of September again. And we've been home in the United States since then, but we're getting ready to leave again. We're going to go to Ecuador for 3 months. And then after that, I think we're going to try to go back to Asia again. We really enjoyed that area. So we want to kind of get to like the middle of Asia and do that with the kids. Yeah, it's just been like the best time for us. It's hard to stop.
It is. It's like once you get going, especially once you've kind of, I would assume, mastered by now traveling with young kids.
Yeah, like you kind of get a momentum behind it, right? Like you're like, this just feels normal now. Why would we stop? The kids get it. The kids are asking when we're leaving again.
You're like, what, Mom, Dad, when's our next trip?
Yeah.
So amazing. So you said 3 and 6. So 6 is kind of that time that you start school, right? How are you guys kind of integrating travel with the upcoming school?
So we're in North Carolina, so we have a little bit more leeway than some of the other states do, like specifically California or New York. So we homeschooled her. She's like kindergarten based with a later birthday and got like a English workbook and a math workbook, and then she works on that twice a day. And then everything else just kind of open to us after that, like including her world schooling or anything else that she's interested in at that point.
Nice. That's awesome. So you said Ecuador for 3 months. So do you guys travel around to different cities or do you kind of stay in like one city?
When we were doing our gap year, we tended to like stay in one city, so like for 4 weeks. With this one, we're definitely going to travel around more because we're going to be in that one country. And I was like, this is our time to just go and see the country. So we're going to go a little bit faster for some parts. And then I think when we go to Cuenca, if I'm saying it right, we're going to stay there for 30 days just to like slow down. And the rest of it's going to be like a week or around that for the rest of it.
That's awesome. Do you find that they do better, like one way or another, your children, when they're traveling with you?
I find that when we stay longer, they do better. So we'll see how this one goes. Like the less transitions involved in terms of packing up, leaving, getting in a car or a train or a plane is like always a little bit harder than just picking a spot, staying there, and they get to settle down. And now
Hmm.
we're just like, okay, we're going to move a lot more. So we'll see how that goes. We haven't done too much of that over the last year.
Yeah, that'll be exciting to look forward to. So, what are some of the things that you feel you've learned throughout this whole process?
I feel like the biggest thing, and especially like being in social media and just like posting our travels and talking to different people, is just being like being different and being in these different countries that, we tended to go to places that were maybe a little lesser known in some cases. Being different doesn't mean that it's bad. Doesn't mean that it's not safe. I mean, we went to a lot of places where some people would probably be like, I don't want to go there. And they were great. We go for slowing down and for culture for the most part. And I feel like those places that we went to were mostly wonderful.
Amazing. So what are some of the places you found that you would go back to?
My number one, and I think my husband's too, is definitely India. We spent 2.5 months there and I loved the food. I feel like my tongue has like found its purpose. I just love Indian food and the spices on it. I am all about it. My kids are not. They do not like the Indian food, but the culture is amazing. Just, I can't wait to go back there again, to be honest with you.
Wow, that's amazing that you have such a deep love for that country because I feel like that's definitely one of the countries where people are like more weary of traveling.
Yeah, yeah, I get that. I feel like it could be different depending on like if you're a solo travel or with a family, depending on where you're going and who you're going with. But in our case, with like my husband there and the four of us with the kids were like the golden idol kids. Like people just love kids there, so it was so easy to just feel welcomed everywhere we went.
That's amazing. So how do you go into planning your trips and like what kind of considerations do you take into account for your children?
Yeah, yeah. So the first thing I do is when we're picking a country, I try to make sure, like on the Smart Traveler app, that it's at least safe enough for us to go there. Because if they say like something, conflict like is going on there, then we'll probably avoid it at this point. And then I try to look for cities that would be family friendly or kids can exist there. So good groceries, decent infrastructure with metros or subways or buses that we can get around because we don't not renting cars anywhere that we're going and I don't want to walk everywhere. So those are the major things. And then I always go for like vacation rentals. So I feel like that's easier with kids just to have access to laundry and a kitchen because kids are always eating. So that's been like the two major things that have made it a lot easier when we plan places.
How do you help them from being in getting overwhelmed? Like what are some of the tricks you found to doing or helping with that?
Yeah, I feel like the biggest thing is our oldest one seems to be more sensitive and more into her feelings. So we're already aware of that. So we just try to be on top of it before it even happens. And my husband's really good at like noticing it too. And if it happens, we can take her off in a different direction. She tends to do well in like nature and just pull her out of it just so that we give her a break and just like knowing ahead of time, this is going to happen. This is what we need to do just to like settle it down and try to nip it in the bud before it gets too out of control. So we try to be aware of that ahead of time.
Yeah, because I know even like as myself, like when I'm traveling sometimes if things start to go kind of crazy, I'm like, all right, what do I need to do? So I can only imagine being a young child in kind of that same situation where it's like you're not even in like I'm in control when I travel, but like they're not
Yeah.
even in control.
Yeah, yeah, like they're just not at the same development point we are as adults. So I feel like it's good if like the parent just knows, which they do, like they know their child best and they know when to intervene. So just knowing that ahead of time and seeing like the triggers or knowing what the triggers are is like one of the best ways to try to like get on top of it real quick.
Yeah, so how do you guys usually prefer to travel between countries? Like, do you like trains or flying or, the overnight buses? Like, what have you found to be the best for you guys?
I found that, so we typically were doing like between countries, the flying, unfortunately, but if we could get away when we were like in the country and going around, trains were amazing. They are so well established in Southeast Asia. They were amazing everywhere we went, so I absolutely preferred them. And then the overnight buses and just buses in general, we preferred that too. It's just like easier with, again, the transitions with kids of like less with the security and waiting and feeling like it's an all day event for like an hour flight versus like the longer train and buses, but less transitions and you just kind of get on and go. It's a big difference.
I feel like it's different kind of traveling through like Latin America than like East Asia because like they have more trains and I feel like Latin America has more buses and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's exactly what we saw too. So that's kind of like the unfortunate, sad part for us because the trains were so nice. But I think I'm going to be relying on the buses in this case because I'm just not ready to do any driving in a Latin America country. I feel like it just didn't go well for us in Mexico, so I'm just not ready to tackle it anymore.
Driving in another country is a whole like there's people that travel and then
Yeah, yeah, it's just harder.
so what are some of the cities that you guys have found to be very family friendly?
See, so when we were in Antigua, Guatemala, That was like an amazing family friendly. There were so many expats there, and they have like this summer Spanish schools there that people go to. We met a lot of American families there. Chiang Mai, Thailand seemed like it was another great like expat spot with a lot of American families. I want to say Penang too. Like that had a lot of like a mixture of cultures where it felt like you could meet so many people that spoke English, but even if they weren't American, it was easy to mix and talk to people there.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. And how have you found, like, have you guys done a lot of traveling in the US with your kids?
We haven't done too much with the kids as much as we've wanted to because I feel like during 2020 with COVID, we really like shut down in terms of traveling. And then when it opened back up, we probably just like flew out of the country before we considered doing too much here. And then we realized how much like more inexpensive it was to travel outside the US. It's even like a bigger reason probably why we haven't done too much here. But me and my husband did. We just haven't done too much with the kids at this point.
Yeah, yeah, because you said you did a whole road trip while you guys were in grad school and all of that, right?
Yeah, that was
That's
really cool.
amazing.
We just went from like Maryland all the way over to Washington State and then down to Arizona and hit just national parks along the whole way.
Oh my gosh, yeah, that's quite the drive, Maryland to Washington State.
Yeah.
Coast to coast for sure. What were
Yeah.
some of, I know that was a long time ago, you said back in like 2014. What are some of the memories that you have from that trip specifically that were just like amazing spots?
I feel like just camping, we did a bunch of car camping for the 6 weeks. And gosh, we were up in Montana and they have a beautiful park there. It was just totally different from seeing the East Coast where I had grown up and spent my whole life to going all the way west and just seeing the mountains and what it all looked like and just sleeping in a tent for that long. I was like, okay, this is completely different. And it was so beautiful. Just all the national parks are amazing here in the US.
Yeah, we really do have some really amazing national parks. It's definitely like as you start to see more of them, you're like, wow, the US really has like such a diverse area.
Yeah, the parks here are amazing.
So, what are some of your favorite memories that you have from that gap year that you guys did?
I think some of the best memories were when we were getting like our vacation rentals and it had like the homeowner staying in the house too. Like we had a separate area. So when we were in India, we stayed up in Jaipur, which is up in like the northwest corner of India. And they were having Holi, which is like the festival of colors. So the host, she took me to a temple, our whole family, and we got to watch like a big show and sit up front. And I would have never have known about that just being a tourist alone. She just took us to it and showed us. And I'm like, this is amazing. Like just things like that where locals know so much more that you would just never find out anyways, or even know where to go. Like if I had gone there alone and been like, this is the place to go, I couldn't even direct myself around it alone.
Yeah, that's awesome. I didn't even think about the fact that, it'd kind of be like a cohabitation thing where it's like you have people where it's like you can go to them kind of all the time, right? If you need
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, they were like right below us and they part of their deal was they're like, we'll make you dinner every night for $5 for the whole family. And we were like, absolutely, please, that's wonderful. They had chai tea for or just chai every morning that they would bring to us too. And it was everything was like homemade and they were just offering it to us. And it was like, wow, what like amazing hospitality this is.
That is amazing. And do you still stay in contact with them at all?
Yeah, I have her phone number. She sends pictures, like she sends her pictures of the kids. Very, very sweet family to keep in touch with. So it's very nice having that contact with people.
Okay. Really like be like, hey, we want to come back. Do you have space? Like you would go back? That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like I think they want us
So
to
did
definitely come back, which I would love to.
so how long were you guys in India for?
2.5 months. We flew into Delhi. And then we went down to Kerala, which is like all the way like south down there, very hot. And then we went up to Rajasthan, which we went to like Udaipur and Jaipur. And that was kind of like our 2.5 months there. It was really nice.
And did you guys have like a tour guide or anything, or did you kind of just figure it out for yourselves?
We did everything ourselves when we were there. I've done tour guides for a few things, and the only issue I have with it is with kids, they aren't always up for like the speed the tour guide's going at. So that's been our issue of just like, do we need it because it's required to do this activity, or can we just get away with not doing it?
I see. And what are some of the things that when you go to a new city that you guys are like, we have to do this, or you guys look to do, like, is there certain activities that you're always looking for, or?
The biggest thing I try to do when we go to a new city is like pull up a Google map and then like map points on it of like, I want to do this, and this is what we can expect it to cost. And that way we can kind of go with like the flow of the day or the weather and just show up at the place without having to like plan it too far in advance if it's just like not going to go with the kids that day, like if they're just not feeling it.
Yeah, and then with kids, are you like this? You said the speed of the tour guide sometimes isn't. So do you guys try to do like, if you do something, is it like half day excursions or the full day excursions are just like a no-go?
We've done a full day excursion, but it's been like on a boat, right? Where we were sitting on a boat and they had different spots where we could get off and they do okay with it. I wouldn't say it's like a terrible experience. I just feel like by the end of the day, they're probably toast. They're feeling it.
So what does I guess it's kind of different for you guys because you travel for such long periods versus other families that might travel for short periods. But what do your like usual days look like?
If we're just going like at a regular pace where we're not like on our slow year thing, I usually try to split our day up into like three different sections. Where in the morning, it'll either be like an activity that my husband and I want to do, or we focus on something the kids might want to do. And then in the afternoon, we try to focus on like, oh, we might just go back to our hotel or vacation rental and just like let the kids hang out if you have a pool there and they can go swim for a few hours. And then in the afternoon or evening, we try to do like another activity that's again either focused on my husband and I or our kids. That way, there's a good split in the day. So that way, if they need a transition or a stopping point, we have it already built in. So that way, nobody's too burnt out.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's a really good way to think about it, is to put it in those splits. I would have never actually thought about that.
Yeah, it's been helpful to have that. I mean, there's certainly days where we're just like, we're pushing through an entire day and this is just it. And then the next day is just, we're not doing anything at that point. Everybody gets a chance to recover.
Yeah, when you travel for long periods, that's kind of the luxury that you afford yourself, right? Is you don't really have to pack every day so full. It can be kind of like, all right, we're just gonna lounge today.
Yeah, there's like less expectation of having to do something every single day because you might miss out. It's just like, it's okay. We don't have to do anything today. Totally fine.
If there's something that like you really wanted to do, but maybe it wasn't necessarily like a kid activity, would like one of you guys go do it and the other stay with the kids? Or is it just kind of like if the kids can't participate, we just kind of save it for another time?
I feel like for that, the biggest thing I've done is I really enjoy getting like massages sometimes. So my husband's like, he lets me go and do it, or if he really wants to go do an activity, I'll let him go do it, and the other person will just stay with the kids, usually at home, and then we'll just meet back up. That way, we're not doing anything crazy all day, like the person's gone all day, but they still can go do their activity if they want to. Yeah, we've given those kind of activities up. Everything's been not as high adrenaline at this point, but that might just be like coming with my age too. I don't know. Yeah.
And do you feel like that really helped prepare you guys for like getting to travel with kids, or do you feel like it was just this completely new experience where it's like, all right, we have two kids now?
It did feel really different bringing kids along. Like we had to completely restructure our days and what travel looked like and what the kids needed. Like when we first started traveling with my daughter when she was first born, she's about 6 months, and we did some travel in the US because the world was shut down and we were like, this is all we can do. It was hard. There was like a lot to refocus on that was different, like nap time built in and feeding the child at different times of the day because she's still a baby. Like it was just completely different rewiring. But once we figured it out, we were like, well, this is life. I mean, this is how it is. You just go with it.
Yeah. And then how has it transitioned from being like the child stage to the toddler stage to now like the middle child stage?
Yeah, I feel like baby was probably the point where we took them everywhere we wanted to go, but it meant a lot of stopping and feeding them because under a year they have to feed so many times during the day, and I was breastfeeding, so that was like a lot of breaks we had to put in there. And then when we got to the toddler stage with my 3-year-old still kind of in a little bit, but that was kind of like the nap stage, and they can't really tell you what they want all the time. And now the stage that we're in now, I feel like they go a lot better and they're also used to this now. So I feel like right now it feels like it's a pretty easy point that we're at. So I'm hoping it just continues to like go upward with them, with the more they get used to it and the older they get.
Yeah. And do you feel like it helped that you guys started so young with them?
I feel like it did because I feel like they just know what to expect at the airport of what it looks like and how it goes. And things can get delayed and there's a whole lot of like hurry up and wait on travel days. And they're just like, okay, we're used to that. We know what it looks like. It's not too scary when we show up in like a busy transportation spot, whether that be a bus or a train or anything. They're just used to what that looks like now. So I think that's helpful because it's not like a big transition of here we are in the US and suddenly I'm just going to throw you into a train station in India and they're like, what is this? This is crazy.
Yeah, that would be like a complete 180. Like, we're gonna go from our car to,
Yeah.
oh man, that's amazing. Do you feel like, as you've seen your 6-year-old progress through the years, like, can you tell that she still remembers things that you maybe thought, like, oh, she's just a little kid, like, she'll never remember this later on, but we're having fun now?
I will say when we traveled with her, like we went to Costa Rica maybe around 2021 or 2022, she doesn't remember any of that. I have pictures of it, which I love, and I don't remember all of the trip either. Right? I can't remember every trip, but the pictures are fun, and we relive those memories with her. But over this past year, she definitely recalls events that have happened, and she draws pictures about them, and she tells us the names of them. So I think that's really fun that she just can recall those memories, even if they're not there when she gets older. Relive them now and we get to talk about them, and I will always have the pictures and the memories for myself too, which is fun.
That's amazing, and I love that she draws them.
Yeah. Yeah, she'll like draw a mountain and she'll be like, this is a slippery mountain. Like, we were doing a slippery mountain. We were in Laos and it was just wet from the rain and she just slipped down the mountain. But I was like, yeah, she remembers it.
So you said, your kids weren't really the biggest fan of Indian food, but how have they adapted to other cultures' foods? Like, do you feel like they're more open to trying food since you've kind of introduced things, or are they still kind of like they want like what they know?
They still totally prefer what they know. But when we were in Vietnam, that was by far the easiest food to feed them. It had like some taste to it, like that spice taste, but it was noodles and it was rice based, and I feel like that was the easiest food for them to eat. But now that we've been home for the past several months, I mean, they're back to their regular diet of being like fruit, bread, not vegetables. I mean, I don't know. I'm hoping it gets better again when we travel, but we're back to the same diet again.
It seems like no matter what, kids are always going to be picky eaters.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, even when we were gone, like I said, when we were in India and this food was spicy, they weren't having it. And I was like, well, you guys are going to turn into one big potato, all the bread you're eating.
Well, there's always hope. I mean, I definitely used to be one of the pickiest eaters, like peanut butter jellies and chicken nuggets all the time. And now I'm like so open to eating all types of food. It's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll just continue with the exposure and maybe one day it'll click. But in the meantime, you know, we just keep introducing food.
I love that. So, what cities did you go to in Vietnam?
We stayed the entire time in Hanoi, and then like we went over to the coast at Kappa Island because we did like Ha Long Bay. No, Lan Ha Bay. We did Lan Ha Bay from Kappa Island. So we went out there for like 4 nights. But other than that, we were just in Hanoi the whole time.
That's awesome. Yeah, Vietnam's definitely one of my top countries that I've been to. I feel like it's such a fun place to go, and there's just so much yummy food to try, and the cafes there are just crazy.
Yeah, the coffee was so good.
Yes, I think. Yeah, I definitely drank way too much coffee while I was there. It was like, oh, let me see where has like the best egg coffee or the best salt coffee.
Yeah. And then I'm like, why can't I sleep at night? I think I maybe had too much caffeine. Coffee is just so strong there, but it's so good.
It was so good. Yeah, there was definitely a day where I was like, I think I just had a palpitation. I think I need to tell that. Man. So Vietnam is definitely one of those countries where it's like walking through the city can be a little daunting, especially if you're not used to so many scooters. How did you guys navigate that with the little ones?
I remember the first time we like checked in because we stayed right by North Train Street with our vacation rental, and the host was like, when you're crossing the street, just walk across, don't run. And I was like, that's the oddest statement I've ever heard. And then I realized I was like, yeah, you just have to like walk across and everybody just goes around you, right? And I'm like, okay. The kids got used to it, but then there's no sidewalks to walk on because the motorbikes are all over it. So it was definitely like a challenge with, weaving in and out of traffic to cross the street and walking on the sidewalks. But it's just one of those things you adjust to where you're like, well, this is the new normal. Let's make the best out of this we can with the kids. And luckily they're like attuned to the fact that it's a road and there's cars and not to like run or at least hold our hands when we're crossing the street. Sometimes you just do the best you can.
Yeah, that was one of the things that was like the biggest shockers to me when we got there. I was like, yeah, like how, when we start, when should we?
Yeah. You're like, when do I start going? Just pick a time.
Did you see like families and you have tons of little kids all over the place and everyone's just walking across like it's no big deal? Like that I think blew my mind when I first saw like little kids walking across like in a huge family. I was like, oh, they're just so used to this. Like it's so easy for them.
Yeah, and you're like, I guess I have to get used to this too. It's just like a such a shock of how things are different, but then you're like, so it is. I can't change it, so let's just figure this out.
For sure. And then what other countries did you guys go to throughout your year, your gap year?
We also did Laos, so the country is stuck between right between Thailand and Vietnam. And we went down to Vong Vienne. We took the train down there, and it was like the most beautiful outdoor area I've ever been to with like the mountains and the lagoons there and the caves. It was like the best place to like slow down and just like do nature stuff.
That's awesome. And I bet they love just being outside all the time too. It's such beautiful weather over there for the most part.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we got there right before like rainy season, but even still, it was like beautiful weather. Like the rain there, I don't feel like is even close to as bad as when we talk about rain here in the US. Like rain here in the US, you're like, okay, it's gonna rain all day. And there, it's like an afternoon or an evening, and that's it for the most part.
Yeah, man. So what kind of advice would you give to somebody who has kids and maybe isn't familiar with traveling? Like, what would you tell them as a way to start?
I would say the biggest thing is kind of figure out what your comfort level is. Because I know some people are just like, they really want to make sure their kids are safe, which I understand. And a lot of it can just be, you can find a lot of safety and community outside of the resorts and all inclusives. So just start somewhere that you're really comfortable with. And I'd say go outside of the touristy area and just kind of find like a small town and just check it out for like a week or two. And I guarantee you, you'll have like an amazing time and you'll enjoy meeting the people. And you can still do a lot of fun touristy things without being a tourist center or being in an all-inclusive. Like if you want to try to like start traveling outside of the usual resorts and all-inclusives and start doing like different things with your kids.
Yeah, that's really good advice. And I know a lot of people are daunted to fly with kids. Do you have any like tips or tricks that you found work really well for young children flying?
The thing that's worked the best for us is doing the least amount of layovers if possible. If I can get like one long flight without doing multiple layovers, that's the easiest because we just set the kids up. They have their screens, which I am totally okay with when we're flying because I'm like, we're all in a metal tube. We're all stuck to like a small area. Like, go ahead, be comfortable for the flight. But the least amount of layovers as possible and just letting them watch screens and then having snacks available throughout the flight made it enjoyable. Like, we went from Singapore all the way to JFK, had a layover in Frankfurt just to like refuel. The kiss is so good. It was like a 16-hour flight, and I was like, easiest flight ever.
Wow, that's good to know.
I feel like the less transitions involved with kids, at least with mine that I've seen like over the last few years, it's like the least amount of transitions that we do getting on and off the plane multiple times or all that stuff like made it so much easier.
That's good to know. That's and the snacks. The snacks are always good because I definitely come
Yeah.
with a bag of snacks.
Yeah. 'Cause they really don't want to eat airplane food. I don't know if it's just my kids, but they're like, I don't like that food unless it's a piece of bread. So we're just bringing snacks to feed them.
Some bread or French fries. Yeah. Well, do you have any resources?
Yeah, we actually just created a digital course where I'm showing families how to easily and more simply plan their travels based off the systems that we used over the last year to make it as least overwhelming as possible for anyone who wants to travel with a young kid. So we set up a digital course, we're hosting a free webinar soon, so that would be the best place to probably start if you want to learn how to travel more with your little kid.
It's so exciting. Do you know when the webinar is scheduled for?
Yeah, it'll be February 1st. We're going to hold our webinar. On my social media, that way we have a landing page and they can get more information from the page about everything that we're having because we're going to have some fun freebies for anybody who shows up to our free webinar too. And like I said, the webinar is completely free and we just want to help as many families as possible, like make travel easier for you so that way you feel like more confident and comfortable doing it.
That's amazing. Well, I hope you have a great turnout for that. And thank you so much for your time and just for everything today.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Thank you so much.